I have a soft spot for squares, and recently I came across this artwork. Immediately I wanted to create my own version, just for the fun of it. In case you don't see it right away, I will go through these steps to break it down and create my version when building up again. Hi there, my name is Albert van der Zwart. Welcome to Imperfect Paintings, inspiring you to embrace the magic of making art. The Uruguayan artist Maria Freire explored abstraction and non-objective art that isn't a representation of objects found in the natural world around us. A square is a perfect example of a human-made unnatural shape. When I look at this Maria Freire artwork, I get an idea how she might have worked. Making art is in my opinion about playing with common ideas, but adding your own personal twist to it. I create a grid structure of 5 by 5 cm squares. You can forget about the size, I just need a grid structure. When I take this square shaped passepartout, the sides are all the same size, corners are 90 degrees. I can put it anywhere on the grid to let it fit between the lines. When I take a clean new sheet, I can put the square piece down anywhere I like. This time there are no pencil lines, but still the borders of the paper are signaling to me, align with me please, and my controlling mind agrees. But the artist in me knows how to fool the mind by placing it just a little bit out of center. I draw a square and add some acrylics medium to give the paint a better flow. Having to paint between the lines like this is a nightmare, but at the same time it's a nice training to keep my hand steady. When dry, I take a sheet of black paper and cut off a few strips, similar to my painted lines. Now it's finally time I can start playing. Maria Freire made, in my opinion, her own set of rules for this painting. What if I make the line at the top a bit more like this? The strips are an easy way to instantly see the effect of making changes, while having the option to go back to the original. Why not go one step further and add a second strip, or even a third one? Slowly the line is getting wider on one side. But this is all still within the sides of the square. What if I go beyond this imaginary line? How far do I want to take it? And what if I add a line next to the second side of the square? By working like this, I can slowly alter the look of the original square. Just a little bit, just enough to let my mind still think it sees a square, but at the same time getting it to hear this annoying voice in the back of my mind repeating, "It's off, it's off." When we go back to the art of Maria Freire, I look at the shape of her changed squares. Now in this stripped version, it's interesting to notice how one corner points in a certain direction. Not all in the same way, not half to the left and half to the right. There's no real system, just a diversity, showing me options. So I can make the choice to change the line of my square on this side. By doing so, I change each corner of my square. There's also an option to keep one corner untouched, as Maria did. Just figure out yourself how this can be done. Over to the next phase, working on the inside of the square. It doesn't have to be that difficult, so I take 2 strips and put them down like this. Perhaps a little extreme, like this one at the bottom, but it's just a test. I can always change it later on if I want to. And another tip, always check if the paint is really dry, otherwise you mess up like I do here. Back to the original and I see smaller squares inside the bigger squares. When I check how the inside borders of the big squares align with the outside border of the small squares, they never do, no matter which 2 sides I compare. I now have to come up with my own personal smaller shape. This version looks almost like a perfect square, and it's funny, it instantly seems to fit perfectly. But almost, because I only changed the big square on the inside at the top and the bottom. Left and right are still parallel to the smaller one. So I cut off a bit on both sides and test again and add the lines on the inside until I end up at good enough and start painting. Do remember, I don't copy her artwork. I try to find my way to create a similar looking version. By painting my version, I constantly have to make decisions based on what looks like her way of working. But because of all these questions, I have to find answers, and I can only find them by observing her artwork closer again and again. In a museum, people look on average 8 or 9 seconds at a painting before they move on. Painting my version takes way over an hour, and I guess I studied her artwork some 20 times, each time focusing on a different aspect. It brings me details, hidden gems in my opinion, that makes me appreciate her artwork even more. It's spring at the moment, with clear blue skies. Yellow baby daffodils are blooming in our garden, just as crocuses and a few daisies. All lovely colors I can use to add some color to my painting. First, I find out how Maria Freire added color to her painting. She divided her painting by adding lines to it. But in the process she added one extra line. See if you can find it. Each square has 2 lines going through it. Except for one square, it has 3 lines. I tape 2 black strips together and put my lines down until I am happy. And create pencil lines, and instead of painting the lines, I turn to a thin adding marker after briefly checking the original. Over to the colors. Maria Freire used 2 times red, 2 times blue and 2 times yellow in each square. It makes me happy to find out she evenly distributed one aspect in her artwork. To make it easy for myself, I make 2 test strips to see if I can make a nice color combination in the square. But I added a 3rd line, so I have more open space to fill. I decide to add more color and start painting. I just love to see art in a museum that is radiating to me. You think you see a square, but it isn't. Just figure out yourself what's wrong in this picture. It's like a puzzle to me, and I can't resist until I solved it. At my painting course a few years ago, the participants often told me they recognized the painting or the work of an artist in a museum because we had painted in that style. I have this same experience. It's in a way like meeting a friend in an unexpected way. When you take a longer look at her artwork, you'll see my way of working is less playful as hers. But my ideas are just a way to get you started, or a way to learn how to appreciate art looking like this. It's more than just a bunch of odd squares. Would you like to try some more abstract painting? Just click on the link and I will see you over there in the next video. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.